Good morning on this fine February morning. Today, I'm delighted once again to be joined by Mo Khan, the CEO of hVIVO. Mo, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm seeing a lot of you lately.
Indeed, indeed. Well, you've got another exciting update this morning. You've just announced human challenge trials with Inhalon. Is that how we pronounce it?
Yeah, Inhalon, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on in the first place. So Inhalon is a US-based biotech company working in therapeutics against viral pathogens, and we've signed a good size contract with them to run a human challenge trial for them using our RSV model. We've been talking to them for well, at least a year, I think, if not more, looking at how to design the study to give their product the kind of the optimal method to show efficacy in this challenge model, and they've now in a position to sign the contract, and they would expect to run the trial in the second half of 2026, and we expect to actually recognize most of the revenue in that. And just to say, this is our, I think, in the last 6 weeks, so this is our second RSV antiviral trial we've signed.
Okay, when I was reading the RNS this morning, I saw there was Inhalon's drug candidate IN-002, and it's described as this mucosal RSV antiviral. For a layman like myself, what does all that mean, and why is this significant?
So it's significant for a number of reasons. So if, I mean, you and I, being young and healthy people, we will have had RSV infection, and we wouldn't even know about it because our immune system would fight that, and the symptoms would not show. But in a young infant or the elderly or an immunocompromised individual, it could have quite severe effects. So a young infant, for example, having RSV could be in very poor health and could sometimes lead to death, unfortunately. So
Oh,
having antiviral treatment is quite significant, and there's not really one at the moment that's directed at the RSV virus. And what this does is that not only does it stop the infection by trapping the virus in the mucosal lining and thereby preventing it from getting into the lungs, it also helps in the fact that it's inhaled, so it's not injected. So the route of administration is good. The fact that it prevents it from propagating to the lungs means that severe symptoms are not seen. And going forward, and I've talked about this before, the fact that having inhaled and oral or what's called mucosal vaccines and antivirals is really key to the next generation of treatment. I mean, if you imagine during the pandemic, if we had an oral or inhaled vaccine, there would be no need to lockdown because once you take that vaccine, it actually reduces the rate of transmission. So you're less likely to pass on that infection to somebody else. So I think as we continue to move forward to develop the next generation of vaccines and develop more antivirals, I think this is the way to go. And we've been saying this all along that there is a huge potential, a huge market. So one for mucosal vaccines and antivirals. Secondly, for bivalent or trivalent vaccines, which are vaccines that work against more than one pathogen. I mean, the ultimate goal is you take one tablet, and that basically protects you from all known viruses. But we're a long way from that.
okay. And that's interesting. Well, there was some speculation that last year's approval of these RSV vaccines, so the demand would obviously drop off for these related trials, or they might slow down. But clearly, that's not the case with hVIVO. Can you talk about why RSV antiviral remains such a big focus for yourselves, and what are the key drivers fueling this growth?
Yeah, we obviously don't agree with that speculation. I mean, we've invested in developing a new RSV challenge model and updating the models we had. So we did expect and anticipate that RSV work will continue to grow, especially in the antiviral stage. So if you look at the uptake of the RSV vaccine, it's not amazing across all groups, especially in young infants or mothers. And so we do expect the incidence of RSV to continue, and thereby the need for RSV therapeutics to continue. Even with regards to vaccines, the vaccines that are currently on the market are not perfect. I mean, the whole point of clinical research is when you run your phase 3 trial, you compare your drug that you're testing against what's currently best on the market. And if we're suddenly saying that we have 2 or 3 vaccines on the market and that's the end of all future RSV vaccine, I mean that can't be right. So there has to be better vaccines available that give you longer durability, less side effects, and also better routes of administration. So there's a lot more research to be done in RSV vaccines as well as in RSV antivirals.
Well, you certainly seem to be on quite a roll. And I believe this is the fourth new study you've announced now in under 2 months. So does this signal a shift in how quickly you're converting your sales pipeline into signed contracts?
Oh yeah, I think that's a fact now, right? It's not
Yeah.
really my opinion. I mean, you're as you stated the numbers. I mean, it's easy to make that judgment call. Second half of last year was the difficult year for the whole clinical research market. You know, the pharma industry and the biotech industry weren't willing or able to execute some of the clinical programs. Funding was restricted. People didn't want to put pen to paper, and there was lots of uncertainty about maybe the elections and so on. And I think now that's out of the way. We are seeing people commit a lot more. So as you say, you know, this is a fourth contracts in the last 6 weeks or so, and I think that speaks volumes. And a key thing, and I repeat this, you know, maybe before, is that the challenge trial market remains strong. Yes, there was a delay in signatures, but the number of queries we were getting in remained very good. So the fact that now some of those queries are being converted into signing is great news for us. So we're very bullish about this year. We think it's going to be a really good year, and together with our CRS acquisition we announced recently, you know, we expect 2026 to be even better.
Well, funny you just say that. And before we wrap up, I wanted to check in with the CRS. I know it's only been a few days since you announced the acquisition, but how's it all progressing so far?
So far, so good, right? Early days, as you say. I think it's been 2 days since we announced it. So yeah, we've already done a lot of work since then. So you know, I've held a town hall call with the whole CRS company and introduced myself and hVIVO and our kind of goals and ambitions for what we think CRS can achieve. Everyone's super excited over there. We've already had opportunities where we're adding hVIVO and Ven services to CRS's proposal that they're sending out to clients. So, you know, we are meeting with them next week, face to face in Mannheim, and going through a list of actions. So, our goal is to effectively make CRS a growing company and make it profitable by 2026. And yeah, so far the teams have collaborated really well. And I know for a fact the CRS team is super excited to be part of the hVIVO family.
Romo, it's great speaking with you again. Another exciting milestone for hVIVO, and it sounds like there's plenty of momentum ahead. And we're going to look forward to hearing more how the trial progresses and other developments in the pipeline. So thanks again for your time today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.